So, hello everybody! I wanted to make a video talking about Squad Busters because it came out like 2 days ago in beta, and they already announced that it's going global somehow. So, because I made a Clash Mini video like a few weeks ago, I felt like I had to talk about this game, especially since I have the means to install it. So yeah, I have only played a little bit, as you can see here on the screen. So in this video I'm gonna talk about some of the things I think that should change and my first impressions of the game, since, well, it's confirmed that it's going global, but I still think some changes should be made before it actually goes completely into global. So I'm gonna be talking about a few of those, and well, you can look at the gameplay in the background while I talk. First of all, I'm gonna start with a very small one, very minor. And it is that the game is for some reason not registered in my game recording thing, so I couldn't record the gameplay through my phone. I had to open it through SideSync, which means some parts of the gameplay you will see are very laggy, so get ready for that. Now here we have one of my actual real complaints, which is that the game's frame rate is not very good. In the title screen the game runs fine, acceptable. But once you get into the game, the frame rate gets kinda low. Like at the beginning of the match, the frame rate is acceptable. You can play the game without, much problem. But near the end of the game, where everyone is forced to go into the middle and everyone has a huge squad, the frame rate drops severely. And you can notice it very easily. Now, I want to preface this by saying that my phone isn't very high-end. It's probably between low-end and the middle. So of course, well, obviously I'm gonna have bad frame rate no matter what game I play, but this is a game for mobile devices, and I'm guessing most of you don't have a amazing phone that can play, I don't know, high quality games at a high frame rate. So I think it's acceptable from me to expect the game to run well on an average device. I don't know. Here are my phone specs, by the way, in case you want to be the judge of that. Now on to actual things that I think will impact everyone that plays the game. We're gonna talk about the actual gameplay of the game. In the game you only have 3 buttons, kind of. You have the option to move, the option to sprint, which also increases your unit's attack speed if you hold it down, and a spell that you can pick up the floor. There are multiple spells, some that heal you, some that increase your damage, and some that simply do some damage. But the overall core is simply go around, kill enemies to get coins and gems. Gems are your score, while coins are used to open chests to get more units. When you get 3 units, they combine into a single stronger unit, unless they have already combined into that special unit, because they cannot combine again. And yeah, so about the gameplay, some of the complaints I have is that it's very hard to read what's going on in the big fights. For example, if you look at the unit's health, you can see a circle thingy that I'm pretty sure is the health, but the game doesn't really specify, so I think it's the health, and it seems to be the health, but there are also some things around them. For example, in here you can see that Greg has a star in the middle of his health that I have no idea what that means. And El Primo has a ring around his, which I think it means how many hits until he does his special ability. But that's just me guessing, because the game doesn't really tell you. Aside from that, there are some issues. For example, fights against players are kinda unpredictable, because you just kinda stand next to them and hope that your units are better than theirs, which in my opinion is not really fun. I get the game is more of a casual game, so it doesn't really have that much strategy like in Brawl Stars, which is probably the closest game that Supercell has for me to compare to. So I don't know, it's kind of hard to know what you're doing. Most of the time I'm just kind of somewhere in the lower ranks, and then I go into the middle, and because of the frame rate issue that I mentioned before, I kind of can't do anything, so I just kind of rank somewhere down-ish, between 3rd and 7th, or I just lose very early on. It's kind of hard to read the gameplay, is basically my main point in this part. Now for the final part of the video, I'm just gonna talk about some random issues. For example, we have this one that if you don't have every single character unlocked, sometimes you can open chests and get the option for the character, but you can't actually select them since, well, you don't have them. And that's kind of pretty bad, especially if one of the options is an epic and you don't have that epic. That means that you're only allowed to pick commons or rares if there's one in the chest. So that's kind of bad design in my opinion. Another issue is the items in general, because that's just pretty much a pay to win mechanic. Like, you either use those in the game and rank high, or don't use them and get comfortable sitting in the lower ranking. Another thing I don't like is how the ticket system works, because, for example, in Brawl Stars, even if you lose, you still get like 10 XP for the Battle Pass. But if you win, you get 20. Of course, it's in 3v3 games. In Solo Showdown or Duo Showdown, you get depending on your standing. But the main problem I have with this is that in this game, you can't, for example, say, I don't want to use the ticket because I ranked very low. It's just, if you end the game and you had a ticket, you're gonna use it. And if you want to keep your streak, you are forced to pay, which is not a good system in my opinion. It's pretty bad. You basically have to hoard all your coins to get battle items to not be at a disadvantage. And you also have to hold your coins in case you lose to keep your streak. So I think these mechanics just need to be removed entirely if they want the game to be like competitive, because battle items are just a pretty bad idea in my opinion. In conclusion, my main issue is frame rate, a bit of the gameplay, and the way the coins work. The gameplay can be ironed out. For example, they can, like, I don't know, make the health bar more readable and maybe reduce some of the icons that don't really tell you much. The screen is kind of cluttered with a bunch of buttons, so that could maybe also be changed a little bit. Spending coins to keep your streak or to use battle items should just be removed entirely in my opinion. And the frame rate, well, that also can be ironed out. The glitches, of course, can be ironed out. And yeah, if they plan to make this game competitive, yeah, there's definitely a lot to do. Especially, I don't know how the combat works, because it's very awkward to stay standing still next to another player just kind of hoping you win. It's very weird. But if the game if they just want the game to be casual, then it's probably fine. Like, even the battle items could probably stay if they just want the game to be casual, because like nobody complains when you spend items in a match 3 game, for example. So I don't know, it really depends on what they want this game to be, but currently in its current form I don't really feel like playing it that much. Like, honestly, my main reason for not wanting to play it is the frame rate, to be honest. If it ran like better, then I wouldn't really mind that much the other issues, even though, you know, they would still be there and I would probably not play that much. But yeah, overall, mostly things they could probably solve before the global release, so well, we'll have to see when the game comes out to everybody. Thank you for watching and goodbye.